I want you guys to be able to refer back to this. Gavin, you have a question?
Yeah, I don't know if you called attendance yet. I'm kind of late. I thought it was my fourth period, and
No
I was about
problem.
to go to lunch, but it was my second before.
All right. Let me just mark you here. So I got Gavin. Gavin is here. Good. Good. All right.
Thank you.
All right. So let's see. What we're looking at here is a slope-intercept equation. All right. So many of you guys know y equals, I'm going to make the m red, okay? And the reason why I do that is that's one of the most important pieces of the puzzle when we're setting up a line. Mx plus b, all right? B being our y-intercept. So m is our slope, okay? M equals slope, where it's the rise over run, as many of you guys know, rise over run, all right, or the change in y over the change in x. B equals our y-intercept, and whenever we take an equation, intercept, all right, whenever we get an equation, we're going to start with b, and the y-intercept, obviously, we've got a coordinate plane. This is our y-axis, and if b equaled 2, we'd start there, and then we would use our slope, our rise over run, to figure out which direction the line went. So, Cassie, are you there?
Yes,
How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing great. So on number 1, right, they tell us that m equals 2. And what's m?
It's dang, I forgot. It's not slope. B is slope intercept.
It's our
I don't
slope.
remember honestly.
It's our slope, okay? So they told us that m is our slope, okay? And then our xy coordinates, okay, right here, xy, right? So x comma y, they told us are 3 and 0. So now let's substitute this information into our slope-intercept equation. So our slope-intercept equation equals y, or y equals mx plus b. And Cassie, go ahead and give me the numbers here.
Okay, it'd be 0 equals 2 times 3
2
plus
times
b.
plus b. And now we're just going to solve for b. So walk me through that.
Okay, so multiplying 2 and 3, you get 6.
Yeah.
And then it'd be plus b, and then you'd subtract 6 from both sides.
All right, so we're subtracting 6 from both sides, right? And I've got negative 6 here. These cancel out. So b equals negative 6, right?
Yep.
So now, if I was to build this equation, right? If I know that b equals negative 6, so y equals, they tell us the slope is 2. I'll change my color here. 2. All right. X minus 6. You just figured out that that's 6. So now I can graph that equation. And what I'll do is I'm going to create my coordinate grid. So that's my y-axis. That is my x-axis. All right. And then I can go, let's see, negative 6. That's where I'm going to start. All right. So I start with this number here. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, that's negative 6. And I'm going to put my first point there. Okay. And now, Cassie, that slope
Yeah.
right there. The slope right there, tell me which direction I would move. Remember,
You'd
rise over run.
so you'd go up 2
Yeah.
and then over to the right 1.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to go up 2 and I'm going to go over 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just to, all right. So my second point is going to be right there. All right. So I went up 2, I rose 2, and my run was 1. All right. And now I never do this well when I'm using this, but I'll see if I can connect these dots or these points. All right. And again, my equation here was y equals 2x minus 6. I used minus 6 as my starting point on my y-axis, and I went up 2 and over 1 because the fraction, 2 as a fraction would be 2 over 1, or that's the change in y, positive direction, over the change in x. We good with that? That makes some sense? All right. So let's make this a little bit smaller. And let me erase this stuff. So let's see. Oh, Justin, what we're doing right now is we're doing this warm up, okay? And we're substituting in to the slope intercept equation. All right, so the equation is right here. That's the slope intercept equation, which you probably remember, y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. And Nieli, are you there?
Yeah.
All right, so help me substitute in these numbers into my y-intercept equation. So the equation, right, is y equals mx plus b. Notice I write it and write it and write it. I keep doing that. That's an equation that we're gonna use time and time again whenever we're talking about a line. So, Nieli, what's my y value?
-4
-4, right?
equals
So I've got -4 equals
-1 times 5.
-1 times 5 plus b. So now I'm going to solve for b. Go ahead and walk me through that.
So you simplify the -1 and 5 to -5.
-5, good.
And then you do +5 on both sides.
Plus b, and then I add 5 to both sides, and I add 5 to both sides. And 5 plus a -4 is what?
1.
That's 1. This cancels out. -5 plus 5 is 0. All right. And equals b. All right. So my slope intercept equation in this case would be y equals, and the slope here, they give us a slope of -1, -1 x plus 1. All right. And if I was to graph this equation, okay, if I graph this equation, I've got that, and I've got that. And now I go 1, 2, 3, and we're going negative. So 1, 2, 3, right? And I take +1, that's my y-intercept. So I'll put that there, okay? And then which way do I move as far as my slope goes? Nieli?
Wait, what?
My slope, right? So I just found my y-intercept, which is positive 1. That's right there,
Oh,
okay?
yeah, go down one and then to the right one.
To the right one. Good. All right. So that's my second point. And here is my line. Okay. And we've got a negative slope. So the slope goes down. All right. And that looks good. Okay. So I'll shrink this up and I'll delete this information. All right. And let's do that too. Good. Okay, so now we're solving for y. This is some pretty easy stuff, I think, for the most part. This is basic algebra. You guys are pretty good with this. Gavin, can you help me with this one? I'm looking at number 3. Gavin, are you there? Evelyn, are you there? Evelyn? All right. So, Evelyn, I want to get this equation right here, okay, into my slope-intercept format. So I need to get it into y equals mx plus b, all right? And the equation that they gave us was y minus 6x equals 9, all right? So this needs to get into here. This is fine, okay? The y is fine. I need to get this over to this side of the equation, and then my 9 obviously just goes right there. So how would I manipulate this equation so it's in a standard format?
Add 6x to both sides.
Add 6x to both sides. All right, so I'm going to add 6x there. I'm going to add 6x here. All right. That cancels out. Now I've got y is equal to, and because I want to keep it standard format, instead of doing 9 plus 6x, I'm going to do 6x plus 9. All right. So my equation there is y is equal to 6x plus 9. All right. So that was pretty simple. All right. I'm not going to graph that one, but you guys can imagine what we're doing is we're going up 9 on the y-axis. All right. And then we're going to go up 6 and over 1 for my second point. And then I have the line. All right. So that's the way that line would look. Good job there. And now, let's see. Who do I need on this one? This one's a little bit tougher. Sherlyn, are you there? Sherlyn?
I got you, bro.
Ah, good. Let's see. So you got this one, huh?
Yeah.
You're like a new man this year.
True.
Yeah, you're doing a great job. I'm proud of you.
No.
All right.
Quick maths. All right. So you're gonna hold on.
4x minus.
Subtract 4. I subtracted 4x on both sides,
Okay.
and
So-
I was left with negative 2y equals negative 4x plus 8. And then what I did was I divided negative 2 by everything.
So I go negative 2 on there. I go negative 2 there. And I go negative 2 there, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And negative 2 divided by negative 2?
Is a positive.
Positive 1, right? So that's just going to change it into 1y or y, right? Now we got negative 4 divided by negative 2.
Positive 2?
Yeah, so that's 2x, right?
Yes.
And go ahead.
And then it's equal to negative 4.
minus 4.
Oh no, my positive 4 actually. My fault.
No, actually, you're
Minus-
right.
Yeah, it's
8.
because I was looking at the minus 4.
8 divided by negative 2, right?
Yeah.
Positive divided by a negative is going to be a negative, so it's going to be negative 4. All right.
Yeah.
Now, if I was to graph that, and I will graph that one, okay. So I'm going to graph this, and
The starting point should be 2x, right?
no, always with your y-intercept, okay?
Oh, all right.
So I'm going to go negative 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. And I put my point, okay? And now, what direction do I go on my slope, right? My slope is here.
Yeah. You go up.
Up what?
Do you go up?
Yeah. Yeah, because it's positive, right?
Yeah.
So essentially 2 in a fraction form is 2 over 1.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my rise over run. So I'm going to go up 2 and I'm going to go over 1. That's my second point right there. I can just name that 1 there. And I connect those lines. All right, or connect those points. That's my line. And again, the equation there is y equals 2x minus 4. And the value of this, understand that if we were working with finances, all right, and the x-axis, let's say that was number of days, okay, and the y-axis is the value of your money. If I invested money, this isn't a great example, but if I invested money today, okay, and let's say I put $200 in, I'd be able to substitute in the number of days that I'm looking. So let's say I want to know what the value of $200 is going to be in a year's time. I would just say 2 times 200, because that's the X value, all right? So 2 times 200 would be 400 minus 4, and so the investment that I made would be worth $396. And that's a real life example. I'll show that to you guys another day, but I want to get into this review. So slope is very, very important, all right? And when we're looking at slope, let's talk about parallel lines real quick. Let me come down here. I'm gonna give you guys, let's give a clean one here. So if I gave you a line, an equation for a line, and I said y equals 2x plus 1, right? If I wanted a line that's parallel to that, so let me draw that graph. This is just a quick review here for you guys. Excuse me. So I start with my plus 1, all right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. So I start with my positive 1. That's my y-intercept, okay? And then I'm going to go up 2 and over 1. Now, if I wanted an equation for a line that was going to be parallel to this line, what do you guys think that equation could be? Anybody have any idea? Going once, going twice, going 3 times. All right. Evelyn, go ahead.
3x plus 1?
All right. When you have a parallel line, all right, your slope always has to be the same. So what I would say is 2x, okay? And let's just say the y-intercept here is 2, okay? So notice my slopes, I'll highlight that in green. My slope is 2 here. My slope is 2 here. So I look at my y-intercept, and that's now 2, right? But notice that my slope is 2. So I'm going to go up 2 and over 1 here. And now look, this line parallels the other line. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right. Now, this is very important. I think we went over this last time. If I wanted a line that was perpendicular to this line, all right? Again, whenever we're talking about parallel lines or perpendicular lines, we're looking at the slope, all right? And for perpendicular lines, all we're going to do is we're going to take the slope. So the slope in this equation, m is equal to 2. What we're going to do is we're going to flip it, all right? We're going to flip it and we're going to change the sign. So the slope of a perpendicular line, all right, is we're going to just flip this. So instead of it being 2 over 1, it's going to be 1 over 2, okay? Change the sign. We call that opposite reciprocals. Make a note on that. Opposite reciprocals. Reciprocals. All right. Flip and change the sign. So when they ask for a perpendicular line, and the first one I'm going to show you is going to be that, you're going to flip and change the sign. So in order for me to have a perpendicular line to this one, y equals 2x plus 1. My perpendicular line would simply be y is equal to, and I'm going to change the here. I'm going to flip 2 over 1 to 1 over 2. I'm going to make that negative. X plus 1, all right? So all I did was I changed the slope. This is the slope here. This is the slope here, all right? I flip it and change the sign. So now, if I was to graph this, Miguel, right, I'd have, I'm going to do this in blue, okay? My perpendicular line is going to be plus 1 is my y-intercept, okay? So that's plus 1 there. And now I'm going to go down 1, right? Because that's my rise. So I go down 1, and I'm going to go 2 positive on my x-axis. So now I connect those lines, or I connect those points, and a perpendicular line creates the right angle, right? So flip and change the sign. Make sure you guys make a note of that. So let's go to the review. I think I've gone over this with you guys, but I'm going to go over this one with you. I know we struggled with this in the past. So here, let's bring this down. I'll paste it in there, okay? Who could read this equation to me? Danielle, can you read this equation to me? Or this problem? Danielle, are you there?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The graph of line L, I think
Yep.
that is, or I. L is shown below. Which of the following is an equation for a line that is perpendicular to line L in the graph?
Okay, so a couple things jump out. The first thing is the naming convention of line L, okay? Line L. Notice right here, they've got that little L, all right? That's the line that we're talking about. And then they say perpendicular. If they say perpendicular or parallel in an equation, we're looking for slope. So we've got to figure out the slope of line L. And they give us 2 points here. So Danielle, what are the 2 points that they give us? Can you read those?
-6 and 7.
Yeah. And what's the other one?
Oh, 6 and 3.
Okay. So I need to figure out what the slope is of this line. Can anybody do that in their head real quick? If you can't, just say, no, I don't have a clue. So the slope of this line right here, okay, it's going to be the change in y over the change in x. So I've got two y's here. I've got 7 and I've got 3. So what's the change between 7 and 3? That's my rise change. The change is 7 minus 3. So what's that equal? 4. Evelyn says 4. Good. Okay. Now I'll use my blue. I've got -6 and I've got 6. So again, I've got to do it in the same order. So I'll do -6. And in this case, it's -6. All right. And who can tell me what the change in x is here? -12. Nieli, Justin, great job. -6 minus 6, all right, is -12. So my slope, right, my slope here is 4 over -12. But whenever we're dealing with slope, we always want to reduce it. So what's my greatest common factor I can reduce this fraction by?
2, 4.
What's that?
4.
So Evelyn said 4. So I can divide the top and the bottom by 4. So I'll divide both by 4. And now I've got 1 over -3. So my slope reduces to -1/3. But remember, they asked us for a line that is perpendicular to this line. So what is the equation of a line that is perpendicular to this? My slope of this line is -1/3, right? And we know when we're asking for perpendicular, we got to flip and change the sign. So go ahead and put that in to the into the chat. We're going to flip -1/3. We're going to flip it and change the sign. So, yes, Dylan, good job. So it's 3 over 1, and it's going to be positive because we have to change the sign. Flip and change the sign. So now we come up to the answer options. And what's the slope on this first equation? What do you guys see? This first equation right here. What's that slope? Go ahead and put that in. The slope on this one is -3. That's -3. That doesn't match, right? So I can eliminate that, okay? What's the slope on the second equation? Y equals 3x minus 5. Evelyn says 3. So that could be a possibility, right? Maybe that's the answer. Now, what's the slope on the third equation? Y equals 1/3 x plus 0. That's implied. 1/3. Is that going to be one of our answers? No, right? We're looking for perpendicular there. So we can eliminate that one. And what's the slope of the next one? Evelyn says that's 1, right? Miguel, does that make sense to you? This equation right here is essentially y equals 1x plus 3. So the slope is 1. That doesn't work either. So my answer on this one is y equals 3x, okay? I said it was 3 over 1, all right? So we know that our slope was 3 there. So the perpendicular slope here, right, equaled 3. And that's the answer. Go ahead, make sure you guys write this down in your notes or take a screenshot of this and put it into a Word document. You guys know how to do that? Okay, so that's the first one. Let's go to the second problem. Again, the problems on the review are going to be very, very similar to this. We've done this before, okay? On this second one, this is a fun one. I love this problem because it's like putting together a jigsaw puzzle. So let's go to the second one here, all right? Now, let me bring this over just a little bit. Let's see. Cassie, you there? Cassandra, you're
My
muted.
mic wasn't working.
What's that?
My mic wasn't working for a minute.
Okay, just, yeah, you were muted. No problem. So, Cassandra, can you read this problem to me?
If measurement ABD is 90 degrees, select all the angles that measure 42 degrees.
Okay, so we're going to look for the givens, all right? The first thing they tell us is measurement ABD is 90 degrees, all right? So measurement of ABD equals 90 degrees. So now I'm going to find those points. A, B, D. They tell us that that angle right there is 90 degrees. So I'll do this the best I can. The measurement of that is 90 degrees. Now, if we look at our diagram, right, they tell us that this measurement is 42. See that? Angle ABC is 42. ABD is 90. So what do you think the measurement of angle 1 is? Go ahead and put that into the chat. Remember, this plus this equals this. So if one of the angles is 42 and the total angle is 90, what would be the measurement of angle 1? Go ahead and put that into the chat. Dylan says 48. Does anybody agree with him? Cassie says 48. Kinski says 48. All right. So the measurement of this angle is 48 degrees. All right. So I will mark that in blue. Now, I want to clean that up a little bit. So this first angle is 42 degrees. The second one is 48. So angle 1, they're looking for, select all the angles that measure 42 degrees. So angle 1 equals 48. That is not included. I can eliminate that answer. Good. Now, oh, look. What does this right, what does this little square mean in that angle?
It's a right angle.
Aliana, great job. That's a right angle. So we now know that that includes angle 3 and angle 4. We now know that that angle right there is 90 degrees. It's a right angle. Okay. What do we know about opposite angles or angles? So if I had a line here and a line here, and I told you that this one was 42, what would this angle be right here?
42.
42, right? So we know that this angle right here, A, B, D, C, is 42. So if you look at the sides of that angle and you just continue them on, right? We continue those angles on, those sides on. Angle 4 and this one that are 42, they are opposite angles, right? So what do you think the measurement of angle 4 is?
42.
42. And Dylan already answered that. Dylan, great job. So that one is 42 degrees. All right. So if that's 42, what do you guys think angle 3 is? Remember, angle 3 plus angle 4 equals 90. Justin, Dylan. Dylan says 48. 48. Isn't it a fun puzzle? This is like good stuff, man. I love this. All right. Oh, wait. So if that's 90 degrees and we've got a straight line here, if they told us that this is 90 degrees and we got a straight line here, what do you think angle 1 plus angle 2 is? You guys can just yell that out. Angle 1 plus angle 2. Justin says 90 degrees. That's right, Justin. So if this angle is a right angle there, this angle right here is also a right angle. So I'll put my little square in there. And now I know that angle 1 and angle 2 add up to 90 degrees. And I've got angle 1, we already figured out that was 48. So what's angle 2? 42. Nieli, good job. 42 degrees. So angle 4 is 42. I can circle that one. Angle 2 is 42. All right. And I could go in and I just say, oh, these are vertical angles, 48, and this one is also 48. Okay. And this one is angle B right here is vertical to 1 and 2, and we know that that's 90, so that's 90 degrees. So my answers here are 2 and 4. Angle 3 is 48, so I can eliminate that. And angle 5 was also 48, so I eliminate that. Those are my two answers, angles 2 and angle 4. Good work there. All right, now let's continue on. So we just got 2 out of 12. We are doing good work here. So let me snip this one out. Questions? You guys want to take a screenshot of that? For those of you that don't know, you can do Alt Print Screen. All right, that'll just take as long as you have that window focused. All right, Justin says he's getting it. All right, Justin, you ready? We got a tough one here. Maybe not that tough. Not for you guys.
I wasn't able to screenshot it.
Oh, here. Alt Print Screen, or you can use your snipping tool. Alt Print Screen, and then you can paste that into Word for you.
I got it. Thank you.
Got it? All right. So now, this one looks a little bit complicated. All right. So, Eliana, can you read this for me?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Problem 3. What is the equation of the line that passes through the point -3, -11 as the parallel and is parallel to the line with the equation y equals 2x minus 4?
Okay. So earlier in this lesson, we said if they talk about parallel lines or perpendicular lines, the first thing we're going to think about is slope. Write that down. If they say, if the question says parallel, okay, or perpendicular, the first thing that we're going to think about is the slope. All right. So they give us an equation, and the equation that they give us is y equals 2x minus 4. All right. Great job. All right. So this is the equation that they gave us. So what's the slope of this line? Go ahead and put that in the chat. What's the slope of y equals 2x minus 4? Evelyn, that's a good answer. So Evelyn says, Nieli says 2. Well, the slope is 2 there, okay? So my slope here is 2. And they said parallel. I gave you guys an example before of 2 lines, right? One that intercepted at 1, one that intercepted at 2. And they had the same slope, all right? Those are parallel lines. So I need an equation where the slope is equal to 2. So these are my answer. These are the options for my answers. Y equals 2x minus 5, y equals 2x plus 5, y equals negative 1/2 x minus 25 seconds, or y equals 1/2 x plus 25 seconds. So my question is, what's the slope on this first equation right here? Go ahead and put that into the chat. Nieli, Justin, Evelyn, good job. Miguel, what's the slope of this first line? Adrian, good job.
Is it 2?
It is 2, okay? It's the coefficient of x. So in this case, it's 2, all right? Now, Cassie, are you there? Cassie, you're muted. Unmute yourself. Did I lose you? Oh,
My Wi-Fi is acting up. My bad.
all right. So Cassie, what is the slope of this third equation?
1/2. Negative 1/2.
Negative 1/2, right? And what's the slope of the fourth line, Gavin? Gavin, you there? Gavin? Aliana? Oh, Gavin.
The slope?
Yeah, what's the slope of this third line right here? Of this third equation?
I don't know.
Well, the slope is the coefficient of the x, of x, right? So what comes right before x? It's 1/2, right? 1/2. Okay. But we're looking for a slope of a line that is parallel, okay? So here, the slope is also 2. So since it's parallel, it's got to have the same slope. So I can automatically eliminate this one, and I can automatically eliminate this one. This is a testing strategy. You eliminate those that you know it can't be. Now it leaves me 2 problems, or 2 possible answers. Y equals 2x minus 5, and y equals 2x plus 5. And they gave us points. They gave us points to substitute in. So I'm just going to substitute my x and my y value into these equations, and the equation has to be equal. So my first equation here is y is equal to 2x minus 5, right? And I'm going to take my y value, and I'm going to substitute it there, and I'm going to take my x value, and I'm going to substitute it into my x. So that being the case, y is equal to negative 11 equals, right? I've got 2 times negative 3 minus 5, right? So what's 2 times negative 3? Go ahead and put that in the chat. 2 times negative 3. So Kinski says negative 6. Good answer, Kinski. A number of you guys said that. Evelyn, Dylan, Kendra, awesome job. So I got negative 6 minus 5. Negative 6 plus a negative 5 is negative 11. And this equation works. So more than likely, that is going to be my answer. A is going to be my answer. But I'm going to substitute it into the second equation. All right. This out, and I'll put it down here. And I've got y equals 2x plus 5, okay? And now I'm going to substitute my points into there. So negative 11 equals 2 times a negative 3 plus 5, right? And 2 times negative 3 is negative 6 plus 5 equals negative 11, and negative 6 plus positive 5 is negative 1, and that does not equal negative 11, so I eliminate that as my answer. All right, hold on one second, guys. Let me see. I'm going to pause this real quick.